We left the last video with them just about to start work on their art project. Let's see how it turns out. After all the fun and games in assembly, at the first break time, the children were set to work. Miss Conceit directed them all from a little wooden plinth in the centre of the playground. "The work of art will be madest out of papier-mâché," announced Miss Conceit. Of course she said papier in a mock French accent, even though she could have quite easily just called it paper. The teacher did the same when pronouncing cul-de-sac, liaison, and even creme. It was just one of those things that made her perhaps the most irritating person on planet Earth. "We, well I mean you, will all work together meant to produce a giant papier-mâché sculpture of me, your most beloved art teacher, Miss Conceit." She had assembled everything the children needed. There were paints and brushes, a tall bundle of old newspapers, a roll of chicken wire and a huge bucket of wallpaper paste. "It's simple, meant children. You have made papier-mâché models thousands of times before. We, I mean you, will build them up, the model, and then we, you, will paint it. Now come on, choppity chop." The children groaned. Ugh. They were forced to work all through break time and lunchtime and after school until it grew dark. This went on for days, weeks and months. Miss Conceit rejected all their work. "No, no and no," she would shout. "You have not captured my beautiosity." Again. Needless to say, the children had soon had enough and began hatching a secret plan to deal with their art teacher once and for all. It all began as the most secret plans did, with Alexina, the tall, thin, flame-haired girl who was widely regarded as the naughtiest kid at Humdrum High. "Miss," began the girl one lunchtime, months after they began work on the piece for the cat competition. "Yes? No, don't tell me," replied the teacher as she preened herself. "I pride myself on remembering the name of every single child at Humdrum High." "Colin?" "No," replied the girl. "Trevor?" "No." "Mohammed?" "No, it's Alexina." "Oh yes, of course. It's a very similarish sounding name to Mohammed. Pray, continuement." "Thank you, miss," smirked the girl. "Well, us kids were thinking, we just can't get this paper statue of you right. We have tried again and again and again." "And again," added the teacher. "That's because we are making the base out of chicken wire, but chicken wire is never going to do justice to your immense mental beautyliciousness." Truement, mused Miss Conceit. "Most of truement. It would be so much more lifelike if we could use you as the base." Alexina glared at the other children. No one could snigger or they would give the game away. Meanwhile, a look of concern crossed Miss Conceit's face as she pondered the plan. "Me?" "Yes, you," replied the girl. Luckily for the children, the art teacher's vanity got the better of her. "That is a splendiferous idea," she cooed, clasping her hands together in anticipation. "Let's turn me into a work of art." With obvious delight, the kids all began tearing off more strips of newspaper, before dunking them in the bucket of wallpaper paste. Splosh. Next, they eagerly crowded around the art teacher, ready to begin. "Wait!" called out the teacher. "No," hissed Alexandra. "We've been rumbled. I need a strikerman to pose." The teacher began trying out a number of her special poses. First there was holding your hands together in prayer, a portrait of goodness. Then there was the looking off into the distance, shielding your eyes from the glare of the sun, as if staring into the future. Next the teacher pretended to think a deep thought by resting her chin on her hand, but none of these seemed right. "Children, what pose do you think best captures my humblosity?" The kids all scratched their heads in thought. Their own heads, that is, otherwise that would have been weird. "I have an idea," exclaimed Alexina. "Yes, Colin, I mean Trevor, I mean Mohammed. Dave? That's it, Dave. What could be humbler than a squat?" "A squat? What a splendiferous idea of mine." With that the teacher slowly brought herself down to squat. The pose made it look as if she were about to do her dirty business in a hole in the ground. After a few moments Miss Conceit remarked, "Oh, it's not very comfortable." "We will be as quick as we can," replied Alexina, chivying all the other children along. And as fast as they could, the kids of Humdrum High began splatting their art teacher with strips of newspaper soaked in wallpaper paste. Splat, splot, splut. "Oh, oh, oh," cried the teacher each time a new piece of sodden paper hit her. Soon Miss Conceit was covered from head to toe. "I want this papier-mâché statue of me to be gigantiful," she announced, her voice somewhat muffled by the gloopy paper, "to show that I am a giant amongst teachers, and I mean that humbly." "Of course you do," replied Alexina. "All you want is to be adored for all eternity." "Exactly. What could be humbler than that? Come on, gang, let's get this finished once and for all." Splat, splot, splot. The statue grew bigger and bigger and bigger until it was as tall as the school building itself. The sun was shining that day, which meant that the wallpaper paste, which was really nothing more than water glue, dried fast. "Now make sure the statue captures both my innermost and outermost beautosity." "Well, mainly my outermost one," came a muffled voice from somewhere under all this papier-mâché. Now the fun could really start. Using ladders borrowed from the caretaker, the children began painting the statue. When it came to the face, Alexina ensured the expression was one of straining, so it looked as if the teacher really were, for want of a more polite expression, laying a chocolate egg. By the time the bell rang for the end of lunch, dring, the artwork was finally finished. "How do I look?" came an extremely muffled voice from inside. "Beautiful," replied the children in unison. "Perfect. I mean we will win the contestation. I will be immortalised in Gaga. Now all I need is to get out of here. Hang on, hang on. I am trapped. No." "I'm sorry, miss," replied Alexina. "We have lessons to get to. We mustn't be late." "Tee-hee-hee," sniggered the kids. Instead of going straight to her lesson, Alexina swung by the headmaster's office. Rat-a-tat-tat. "Just one moment," called out Mr. Dower, quickly hiding his jigsaw puzzle under his desk. "Come in." "Thank you, sir. You will be pleased to know that the artwork for the cat competition thing is finally finished. At last. This saga has been going on for weeks." "Months, sir." "Has it really? Well, now it is done. That should shut up Miss Conceit for a while. Very good, child. I will make sure it is collected at once. Then we can use the playground again." "Thank you, sir. Now run along to your lesson." "Well, don't run. Just walk purposefully." "Very good, sir." As soon as she left the room, Mr. Dow went straight back to his jigsaw puzzle. What Alexina hadn't told him, of course, was that Miss Conceit was still inside the artwork. All the kids rushed to the windows of their classrooms when they heard a huge truck driving into the playground. Brum, beep, beep, beep. The statue was loaded onto the back of the truck. Before being driven off, brum, tee-hee-hee, the children sniggered as it disappeared through the school gates. The kids in Alexina's class all patted her on the back, which made her glow with pride. A week later, the winner of the nationwide art competition was announced on television. The entire school gathered in the hall to watch. The artwork that will be put on permanent display in Gaga. The presenter paused for dramatic effect. "Squatting art teacher by the children of Humdrum High." Everyone cheered, "Hooray!" No one louder than Alexina, "Yes!" Even Mr. Dower did a little skip and a jump. "Hooray!" There was one voice that remained unusually silent. Miss Conceit's. The teacher had been missing for a number of days now. Then days became weeks, weeks became months, and months became years. What only the children of Humdrum High knew was that their art teacher was encased in her own statue. So if your school ever takes you on a visit to the Great and Good Art Gallery or Gaga, make sure you put your ear up next to the statue of the CAC award-winning squatting art teacher by the children of Humdrum High. You might just hear a muffled voice from the inside say, "Help, help, let me out, I can't keep this positionist for much longerment." Miss Conceit's dream had come true. The teacher was a work of art, a giant poop in one. I hope you enjoyed that story. See you next time.